All right. Well, it is 7:02, so I think I'm going to go ahead, or 7:02 my time. We probably have people from all over the country. We may even have all over the world. We've had that before, so exciting stuff. All right, so I am going to start with just the login page at Coding Rooms. So if you would like to see what I'm doing, I'm just going to go ahead and paste a link in the chat. So that's the login page for our new interface. So those of you that have, yeah, I'm going to. Those of you that have been using Coding Rooms, the old style, this year, Joe and the developers have been working around the clock to bring up a brand new interface, which is really unique, nothing like anyone else is doing, and really powerful. So here is the login screen. I always recommend using one of these logins so you don't have to remember a new password. Our district is a Google district, so that makes it really easy. Here are some classes that I've already made. It starts out on your dashboard, but I'm going to go ahead and create a new course. And you can see there are a whole bunch of templates in here that you can use for your course. So if you know that you're going to be teaching an Intro to Python course, you can use that template. If you know you're teaching AP CSA, I have taught CSAwesome for a couple of years and used this course, and it is great. Highly recommend it, and you can always get help with it here.
But there's happened to your screen share. Yeah, screen share's off.
Let me try again. Screen share.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. All right, so but as you can see, there's lots of different ones. C++. There's even how to think like a computer science, the textbook that a lot of people are familiar with, and of course Java, that non-AP CSA, but still Java. So, but I'm going to create an empty template just to kind of start from scratch. So if none of these are what you need and you want to build your own, of course you can mix and match as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So I'm going to call this January 20th webinar. Headline, Rooms is great. All right, so you can see the class name here is right at the top. You can see that my other classes are on the left here. So my test class, TC, I can quickly switch between my test classes here just by clicking on the left. And I'm going to invite students, but I'm going to just invite myself first so you can see how it works. You can see there are a few different ways you can set up students. And this is one of the things that I love about Coding Rooms is, of course, you have your all students. So this is all students who are signed up for this course across all sections, across all history, everything like that. You can set up new sections. So I'm going to set up, I don't know, 7th hour. So this is my 7th hour section. And instead of inviting my students from the all students, I'm going to invite them directly from 7th hour. So you can see here that there are no members right now. But I'm going to share this link and it automatically copies it to the clipboard for me up here in the right-hand side. You can see a little pop-up came. So I copied the link to the clipboard and I just email that to my students, or I post it in Google Classroom, or I, whatever LMS you're using. But I am going to go to a different browser and I'm going to join. And you'll see that I have joined here, John Bartus. That's my other browser. But one thing that Coding Rooms has, which I really love, is this group sets. So you can cross-section your classes. So if you have a beginner group, an intermediate group, an advanced group, something like that, an honors section I use in my class where honors kids have to do a little bit more or a little bit different assignments, you can actually create new group sets. So I'll just call it honors students in my 7th hour. And I'll add myself to that. Oh, because I didn't create the group. So there's sets, and then within sets there are groups. So I can add myself to the 7th hour honors. So it's really nice because when you look at your class, you can still do the grading across the whole class, but when you're doing assignments, for example, specific assignments, you can assign them just to certain groups or group sets. And then, of course, there are admins and TAs. So, you know, I could, here, why don't I add Joe here as,
we're actually working on the front end for that. So as of right now, if you need admins and TAs, we have to manually add it. But in a couple of days, on Monday, you'll be able to do that yourself.
All right, so now that I have some people in my class, all right, I can see what I have to review. I can see the total students. These things are coming soon. You can actually see active students. It just takes you to the all students for now. But what I really want to do is start creating some content. So there's basically 2 different kinds of content. When you click the create, there is an interactive lesson. There's a specific coding assignment, and then there's a module, but a module is not a type of content, it's a way to organize content. So let's create a module. I'm going to call it Unit 1. And then inside Unit 1, I'm going to go ahead and create a lesson. So let's call it how to use print in Python. And I put it in the Unit 1 module because that's the only one I have. And you can make it graded or not graded. So say this is just a text-based lesson, or they need to watch a video, or I'll go through the different content types, but you don't really need to grade it. You can turn it off. If you want to grade it, make sure that they've read it or gone through the material. You can have it graded, and you can change the number of points. So now this is the blank lesson, and there's 2 different ways you can insert new content. You see there's a little plus sign here, or you can just type / command and it brings up this menu as well. There's a lot of different kinds of content that you can add in an interactive lesson. So with plain text, you can say the print command is very useful, right? And so you type in it just like a word processor or Google Docs. You can format things just by highlighting them. There, you can make it into a link. You can, do all the usual type of things just with a click of your mouse here. It's very user friendly. So that can add text, which is fine, but you probably want to be a little more interactive. So beyond basic HTML text formatting, you can add a lot of different kinds of content. So I'm going to come back to the Coding Rooms IDE, but here's a multiple choice question you can put in. Which one is the print command? Print, and you select that as your correct answer, and you've got a multiple choice question right there. And we'll go through this from the student side as well, so you can see what it looks like for the student. So there's a multiple choice. Multiple select is very similar. You have to choose one of the options here. We created two of these. Joe, you might want to take a note of that. So pick all of them. And you have to pick all of them to get the correct, to get the score. We're going to add one more. This short answer. Drag and drop is another great one where you have options. So big, medium, small. You can put, different options here. You can add more options. Oops, I can spell mouse. So a nice drag and drop question type, fill in the blank. For those of you that are familiar with Parsons problems, they are code snippets that you have to order in the solution. So you can have, order the code snippets to print the numbers from 0 to 10. Print. If we're using Python, print I. You can put in some wrong ones. Print 1, 2, 10, I don't know, whatever. And then again, we'll see this from the student side in a moment, but that's how Parsons problems works, is you select some of these and drag them into the solution. Okay, so code select. Here's a nice little bit of code. Select a line that returns. And add another one. So this is a cool little one, the hide content. So you can give students hints. So if I wanted this to be hidden or revealed, I could say, hint the print command says, and you can hide that and reveal it. All right. Tables, probably familiar with tables. I'm not going to go through that. Static code block. So this is nice because you can have formatted code for any of the most common languages. And you can include it in your text. So say you're writing a little how-to, you wanted to insert a code example. If you did it in HTML, it would never quite be formatted right. It wouldn't be nicely highlighted. But if I say in Python, you can see that it formats it nicely and it highlights it according to the language. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is an instructional unit, but what I use more often is a coding assignment. So the interactive lesson, very useful when you're creating content for how to do something, if you have students working on their own. But I tend to use coding assignments a lot in my classes. And so let's make one where, print hello world. We're going to put it in unit 1. It'll be worth 1 point. And I'm going to do it in Python. You can choose Python 2 if you want, but I'm going to use Python 3. And this is what the main coding room assignment looks like. So there's quite a few parts to this. So over here is the class name and the units and assignments, everything that we've just talked about. So I'm actually going to close that just so I can make this a little bit bigger. I can always open it again just by clicking that arrow. So the left-hand side is the assignment itself, and it works the same way as the interactive unit text that I just went through. So if you type a / you can add all the same type of things. So if you want to add a picture of, a graph or something about the assignment, or you want to add a little just some text. Let's just add some text to, like, say, write a Python program that prints out hello world. I'm going to say, make sure to pay attention to capitalization and just because we're going to add a test to make sure they did it right, auto testing. So you can see here, I should say punctuation. I often forget their exclamation marks. Okay, so this is the template that you're already given. So I might not want to give them hello world. I might want to give them a different template to start with. Print command to print out and I might even do that. You can give them as much code as you want. And so this is what every student will see when they try to do this assignment. This template code is provided for them. So you can decide how much or how little code. You can give them no code at all if you'd like. I like to put a lot of comments in, even if it's already in the instructions over here. I just find that students tend not to read instructions very well. I don't know if you have the same experience, but sometimes having a little help inside the template goes a long way. All right, so what I want to do in this case is I want to make sure they print out exactly this hello world. So I'm going to go into my test bench and I'm going to add a test case. Check what I'm going to call it. It's worth 1 point. And there's a few different things you can do here. I'm going to start with input and output comparison. So here's our test case. When they fail the test, you want to give them some feedback generally, because if you just mark it wrong, that's really frustrating for new programmers. So I will again say, make sure to pay attention, because this is usually what they do wrong, is they forget capitalizing a word or the exclamation mark. You can choose how carefully to compare the output. So with things like Hello World, if you got brand new programmers, I will often do the flexible equality. Does it really matter if they put Hello World with a capital W or not? No, right? You're teaching them the print command. You're not teaching them to be nitpicky about, capitalization. So sometimes you want equals exactly if you're doing, math. If you want regular expressions, you want to do your own fancy comparison, you definitely can. But for things like this, I think flexible equality works well. We're not going to pass any input in. So if you are reading in, like, what is your age, for example, and you wanted them to do something with that, you might want to input something. But in this case, we just want to make sure the output, says Hello World. So that's what it's going to output. That's what we want it to. So if we click run tests, you'll see right now it fails because the print doesn't print anything yet. The template has no print command. It doesn't do anything. If I were to give them, this answer, and I ran the tests, you would see that it passed. Right here is a big green passed, because the actual Hello World matches the expected Hello World. But I'm not going to give them that in their template. I'm just going to say print. All right. So now I'm going to publish it. I can actually add policies to how it's published. So I can select specific groups. Remember, I have all my students, just my 7th hour students, only the honors students, or just that one student. So I'm going to give it to all my 7th hour students. I can make a due date. I'll make it tomorrow. I can, have a submission cutoff after which they can't submit anything. When is it available? How long is it available? How long do I hide the grades? So, there's a lot of flexibility in these policies that you can play with depending on your particular use case. So if you're the type of teacher who wants to get your whole semester set up and ready to go, or work a couple weeks ahead, then you can set the availability till later on down in the semester. And all of this is, of course, you can change it later. It's not, once you've set it, it's not permanent. It's just, it's always going to be in these policies. Yeah, Zach, I see you raised your hand.
Yeah, so I guess the difference between due date and submission cutoff is in case you want to accept late work. Is that the idea?
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
So it'll be marked late if it's late, but they can still submit. And you can just delete a policy if you want to as well. It's all pretty straightforward in there. All right, so let's go into, let's pause for a second. Are there any other questions? I haven't been monitoring the chat. Joe is, oh yeah, dark mode. So let's go into my students room here.
Just so you know, John, you did unshare.
Yep, because I'm switching browsers here.
Oh, no problem.
So here we go. So now I'm in student John, and you can see he is also in this January 20th webinar. He has one assignment to do here. No due date. I didn't assign a due date. It's not yet submitted. Here, why don't I add a due date and you can see how it updates. Excuse me. There we go. Due date tomorrow. Okay. Save it. And you can see it immediately updated to due tomorrow. So I'm going to view the assignment. And it comes up immediately with the template that I created as the teacher just a few minutes ago. You can also see that on the left-hand side here, this is orange now. There's a little orange dot here. What that means is that I have gone into it. I haven't finished it. I haven't not looked at it, but I have gone into it. So you can see if a student has actually looked at an assignment, if they've submitted it, if they've got it right or gotten it wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and print not hello world. I'm going to say, well, that's definitely going to print hello world. I click run. It prints out this, which I say definitely looks like hello world. So I'm going to check my answer. And it's going to take a minute.
I think it gets stuck, John. Try to give the page a refresh. Yeah,
So,
reset the instance can be good too.
there we go. It failed. I can't believe that. It doesn't notice that my code says hello world. So there must be a bug in my code. And so if I close this, and I go back into my code and I change it to hello world, check my answer again. This time it says it's passed. And if you want the little text version, you can see it. So this will actually print out what the tests expected and what they got. So now I have passed this. I can look at my previous submissions if I want to. I got 0% on my first try, but then I got 100% on my second try. Oops, I forgot to submit. So the last thing I have to do is submit. Yeah, and you can see on the left-hand side here, my print hello world assignment just went green because I got the right answer. And you can see with a flexible, once it's submitted, I can't change it unless I unsubmit it. So unsubmit. I just wanted to show the flexible checking here. it says, you'll notice that it passed, even though the actual doesn't quite meet the expected. And that's because I turned on flexible checking rather than exact checking. And if I have something completely wrong and I submit it, you know, this teacher can still see the code and it'll still mark it submitted. I just won't get the points for it.
Maybe a small delay there. It will change that to 0. It should, because it should recheck the components when they submit.
Okay. All right, so there's a little delay there in the submitting. But I'm going to go back to the teachers. Are there any questions about the student side quick while I'm still in the student sort of environment here?
Can you show just one more time how you got student view?
So in this, the way I did it in this case is I used a different email address and added a different, like myself as a student, but using a different email address. So this is literally what a student would see.
Oh, I see. This is the tab where you're logged in as a student.
Exactly.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah, and I do recommend to everyone that you kind of have this like student account.
Yeah.
Like with a personal email. It's really, especially when you're getting started, just to check out what the student experience is and helping your students out is incredibly helpful. John, I don't know if you can go over back to the teacher tab pretty easily, but you can also just view the students page as the teacher.
Right.
And it does show you the student view and you can check the answer, you can do all that stuff, but it is super useful just to see and make sure you're publishing things properly and what the students are exactly saying.
So what I'm gonna do, yeah, I'll show that when I get back to the teacher page, but I would just want to show the first part of the unit that I created, the sort of the lesson part from the student's point of view. So here's my hint, if you remember, which one is the print command? Hint, the print command says print. So the student checks that box, check answer, and it's correct. Pick all of them, check answer, it's correct. Oh, that was the duplicate that came up. Elephant is big, dog is medium, mouse is small. Oh, I didn't set a correct answer for that one, but sorry, that was my mistake in the teacher side. I didn't choose which ones were correct, but I just want to show the functionality here. And I spelled print wrong. So this is one of the reasons it's great to have, you know, to go through it as a student, is you'll notice when you make typos. And again, I didn't set a correct answer for this, so that's fine. Select the line that returns the answer. It's this one. Oh, I'll show you the wrong answer. That's not quite right. I fix it. That's correct. Oh. So this one. I must have done that in the teacher. In the teacher area, I must have ordered them. And here's that. Oh, that's another note to make, Joe, that it's not formatted in there, or it's not colorized as a Python code in the student side here. All right. So this is, you know, the many different kinds of the lesson that you can do, lesson types, text types that you can put into the teacher's side and how it shows up for a student. And you can see immediately here, so I'm back in the teacher tab now. You can see immediately on the right-hand side here, my student account got 3 questions right, 2 questions wrong, 1 question right, 2 questions wrong, 1 question right. And if I click on it, it shows me exactly what the student did. I can see the student's answers right here. I say, oh, they actually got this one right. I can change their score right away. Oh, did I forget to submit? Mark is done. So there are no other students to look at, but you can quickly go through. If I had a list of students there, I can quickly go through, click save and next, save and next, save and next, and just make sure that, you know, the auto grader did what I'm expecting. Or, you know, if there's a short answer question. So there's in here a short answer question. You might have to manually grade it. You know, describe something here, and they have to actually type in there. So that obviously can't be auto graded. So you can easily go through and grade those. Oh yeah, so you can also, as Joe was saying, here's the coding assignment. Up in the top right, there is a student preview. So if I click on this, it shows you what, in this sort of bottom right-hand side, a preview of what the student will see. So here's what the assignment will look like for them, and what the template will look like. So you can kind of do it as a student without necessarily going through your own student account. It's just a preview, and it doesn't save anything. Any questions so far?
So where can you download the grades at the end, maybe of like a week or semester?
Sure. So we can jump over to the grading section here.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to type something before you left. Will you go back to there at some point?
Sure.
My question was, is there a way to collapse everything on the left so that all we're seeing is the coding area and not the instructions and not the files?
So
because Joe had said that you could, but I would love to just see that demonstrated.
So you can click this closed, and then
that one I saw. Oh, that one does go all the way through, and on the right, I guess that's not a student view. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah,
this is going to make such an insanely huge difference for us. Thanks.
Good.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
and that panel on the right can be closed too, John. If you see those like 3 little bars, yep, you can close that too.
Oh, great.
And that's just, you know, that right-hand panel, like you were saying, Brian, I think that doesn't show up on the student view at all.
Right. So you can have this whole screen for coding, and that's the thing, you know, it's tricky when you have all sorts of students running different size laptops and, you know, Chromebooks and all this stuff. So definitely, if you're noticing weird formatting or anything, please let us know, because we want to make it accessible to everybody, right? And we don't have every single device in the entire world at our disposal to test on. So our dev team is pretty amazing at making it work for everything. But if you notice something, please let us know, and they're very responsive. They'll get it back.
One more quick question, if I could.
Yeah, of course.
So say the students, you know, we're in JavaScript and they're composing functions. As soon as they put in a function call line that's not in a function, template, the area where they're working immediately starts running the code. And we would love if there was some way to say, please don't run this code unless I click the run button. But because we're doing the HTML CSS, it doesn't respect the run button because we have to run things by loading the web browser. And yet, do you follow what I'm saying? Like if I just write into a function call, it's just going, and like we have to actually put the function calls inside other functions to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, I have an open issue for that, and we will be addressing that soon. We're hoping to improve the entire experience for HTML, CSS, JavaScript workspaces.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
And that setting will be something you can turn on and off, the auto updating of the web page.
Yeah, that's on code.
Auto reload, I think it's called.
Yeah, CodePen has that feature and also that problem if you don't click on. So for those of you who remember CodePen, thanks. I'll stop monopolizing.
No problem at all. These are great questions. One thing I want to show you before we go to grading is this go live button in the bottom left. Whoops, I clicked it twice. So I can't show you both my screens at the same time, but this is a way to share code with your entire class. And you can see both my tabs here are showing up. So my student can see this at the same time as I am typing. I'll show you what it looks like from the student's point of view. So this is really cool, right? This is really powerful for students, right? So I've already done this assignment, so I've already got the answer here. But you can imagine if I created a new assignment that I wanted to live code with students, I could go into, you're still looking at the students tab, but I'm going to be typing in the teacher tab here. Hello, Mr. Bartus. So I was just typing in the teacher tab, and you can see it shows up in real time on the left-hand side in the presentation view for the student. So they can see what they have and what you have at the same time.
And click the run button on the teacher view too, John.
So it runs as well for them. And in addition to this, you can just work with a single student if you'd like to. So that would be all students being able to see your screen and their screen. But I can go in, again, I'm in the teacher side right now. And I can say, this is Mr. Bartus. And you can see now I'm typing directly in their code. So if you're working remotely with students, as I am for the next week or two, and they're asking for help, I can see his code right on my screen and help him or her. I don't have to put in the correct code. I can say, check your variable names, but I can see what they're doing, and I can say, oh, I'm not sure that's where your error is, or, I can work with them in real time as though I'm sitting right beside them. I don't have to type in the answer for them. I can see what they're doing in real time without them having to, email me code or put it in, a chat or something like that. I can just immediately click on them, on anyone in the class and see what they're doing. Any questions about the live aspect, either one-on-one or with an entire class?
Hey, yeah, can you just show me what show us what the teacher side looked like? I saw like the students are going to see your work side by side with their own work, but what are the teachers going to see? Do you see everybody else's work? Because I've already been using this for coding rooms with CSAwesome, so I know I can go into my students' work because they've asked me, and I've gone in and done that. But when you're trying to do it with the whole class,
So right now, John's gonna click go live,
uh-huh.
and all your students will show up on the lightning grader on the right-hand side. John can click on a student, so he can,
Right.
and you can sort their students, and that one student's view will come up.
Yeah,
We
it's
will,
hard with one. It's hard with one student.
yeah, so it's clicking one student at a time. You will, all the green bars will light up at, at that certain time. And we are working on a feature in which, if you notice, there's the three bars over there to close out the lightning grader. There's an icon underneath it. We're going to have another icon where you click on that, and it's going to show you an individual block, a multiple choice, the ID, for instance, would be for this one, where you can see each individual student and scroll through for that one individual graded item. So we'll have a real-time view of those individual graded items soon.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm thinking also just to make sure everybody is doing what you want them to do. Because if you're sitting there trying to, show something, demo something, you want to make sure that everybody is on the same page as you. So it's helpful to know that you can see that they all are on. So if somebody is off doing something else, you can redirect. Cool.
All right.
Thanks.
So the last thing that I guess we need to do is look at grading. So we saw that you can see the how far students are just on the green and red lights, but you can actually, there's an actual entire grading section. And so there are only two parts of the unit so far. There was the, how to use print in Python and the print Hello World coding assignment. And so these are them right here. I can go directly to them if I click on these links. I can go directly to a student submission by clicking on it. So this is, I can see exactly how much he's done. I can see his answers. And we cannot, I don't remember which, who asked the question about downloading the grades. Probably tomorrow or the next day, you'll be able to download a CSV of the grades, but not right now. But yes, that is in testing right now. So we just want to make sure that it works, and it is a highly requested feature. So definitely that's going to be there soon.
One of the really, really cool things in the new gradebook are all the different sorts and filters that we have up top there for when you have lots and lots of modules. If you use like in CSAwesome or something like that, to be able to just see kind of the grades at the module level. Sorry to interrupt, John.
No, that's fine. That's a great point. So obviously in this test class, we only have one unit, but if I were using, a lot of different units and a lot of different students, you would see, you could see hundreds of students in here. So being able to filter that and sort it, is, is really nice. And if you want to give some feedback, you can say, click on this button, give some feedback. If you want to change their grade, right, even though it's auto graded, you can override that and say, you know what, I really like this student. I think that they deserve a 7 out of 7 because he has the same name as me. You can just change that to a 7 right there and it'll work. Any questions on the grading right now? Any, feature requests or anything like that? Okay. So the last thing that I want to show is, let's create another thing you can do is make subunits. So you can create units inside units. So it's really flexible in how you want to organize your code if you want. If you want to add an image, or an icon, change the title, you can make it public so that other people can use it if you'd like. If you're designing a course that multiple teachers at your school are going to use, for example, that's really useful. So let's go ahead and create a new course from Python. If you want to make it so that your students can't see the content in advance, when you create a new course from a template, you can select this unpublish all content, and it doesn't delete it, it just hides it from the students, and you publish it as you seem necessary. So here's a better example of something with a lot of units. And let me just create a quick section. So I've added myself. So now when you go into the grades, you can see there are a lot more assignments here. And if I want to just see the grades for one of them, this will give me the list of students on the right-hand side. And as Joe was saying, I can just go through the students one at a time. Or I can say, just give me this section. Just give me one module. This could actually be split up into modules, but it isn't. So.
And we'll probably work on that as an improvement. One thing I want to say is all these great templates, you may start your course, and then you discover them after and you realize there's some content you want to add to it. You can copy a page into your other course. So if you click on one of those, or you go to one of those pages, there's 3 dots next to it. You may need to expand that left menu a little bit more to see the 3 dots. Like if you hover on one of those page things, it's 3 dots at the end. And then there's a copy to functionality that lets you copy it to another course. So now John can add it to his test course if he wants this particular assignment.
And I can add it to, say, Unit 2. And I go back into my webinar, and there it is inside Unit 2. So the nice thing about this too is if you want to, pick and choose, or if you want to add your own assignments, when you make this copy of Introduction to Python, you can still add, units in here, or you can create your own version of it and just copy over the units that you want. It's really, flexible. You can do it however you want to do. So question. Chat, we've only got a couple minutes left here. Anything you'd like to see? Any questions? Yeah,
I figured, John, we can open it up for questions now.
Yeah.
And requests for John to show up specific things. So in our remaining minutes, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have one, kind of, one of the less pleasant ones, I suppose. But, Coding Rooms as it exists now has a tiered system, free for certain things, and then others, are behind the equivalent of a paywall. So what's that model going to look like moving forward? Well, sorry for my puppies there.
No problem. Yeah, so there are, of course, free and paid features. Some of the things off the top of my head that you'll end up seeing is all of those templates you saw, all those template courses, for instance, if you want to use CSAwesome or something like that on Coding Rooms, those are available for free to just use, and you can still fully edit the content and things like that. When it comes to adding your own blocks to a page, you're going to be limited a little bit. You're going to have only the IDE block. You're going to have the short answer and the multiple choice, multiple select block. The other type of assessment type blocks will be part of the premium subscription. Some of those premium blocks are part of the kind of CSAwesome and those other courses, and you can use them as part of the template. You just won't be able to create your own at that point in time because of those being part of the premium subscription. Some other things with the IDE will be mirrored exactly with the free versus premium of our classic version on what's possible in there, but you'll still be able to in real time interact with students in the IDE on the free version, check on students' work in those things.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
And as always, if you're in a district, that has limited funds available for course purchasing, just come and talk to us. We don't want to exclude people for lack of funding, right? Like our goal is to get as many people using this awesome tool as possible. So, I know it's uncomfortable to have these conversations, especially since a lot of the times it's out of our control as teachers. But we're not scary. Well, Joe's not scary. And all the guys on the team are really want to make it work. That's our goal. So please never don't use it because of funding issues.
Our sales team is excellent at working with teachers and finding, working with the price point to make it work for that individual and working with your school on what is possible.
Yeah, I tend to be at the opposite end of what most people's experience is. I'm at a small Jewish day school. So, I've had real success in getting APCSP and then APCSA off the ground this year. But, a good year for us means I got, 10 or 11 kids between those two things because I've got less than 40 in our high school. So, my particulars are a little weird.
So yeah, so please communicate that with our sales, because when individuals come and they say, I love the premium features, can't afford the full subscription, I'm only working with this many students, what they'll do is we'll set up custom pricing for you for that. And we just essentially set it up that you have a student barrier instead of the full subscription where you can have unlimited students.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely investigate that. Thank you.
I mean, it's obviously from our resource perspective, it's different when a university comes to us and says we want it for all our coding classes than when a small school comes to us and says
yeah absolutely.
Kids, so.
And I've enjoyed using the platform quite a lot. I'm working in Codio for my CSP class through the UTeach, and that platform's just driving me up a tree. So it's not making me very happy. But Coding Rooms has worked really well for the things I've used it for with my CSA kids. So.
Oh, that's great to hear. And we're always looking for feedback. Seriously, if you find something that you're banging your head against, just let us know, because we want to the goal is to find those pain points and eliminate them for teachers so that it just becomes something that works the way you expect it to and for you and your students, and it's not something that you have to that works against you like some of the tools that I've used.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I teach CSA and CSP, like it sounds like a lot of people do. And it's my first year teaching CSA. So in the first semester, coding room seemed really cool. I tried it out a teensy little bit and my school did pay for it. So I'm using the paid version. But I am learning so many different things because I'm also at a new school and lots of learning happening. So I'm at the mid-year point and I've sort of caught my breath. And one thing that I've been wondering is like, does coding rooms have like a series of videos or tutorials just to get off the ground? Like, just like when you're first starting, because this is the first Zoom call that I've actually been able to attend. But I'm going to be honest, like given the timing, I was driving for half the time, so I can just watch instead of actually do it on my own computer, you know?
Sure.
So I was wondering if you guys have like published videos or tutorials just for like a teacher beginning and trying to set up their classroom and get things going.
Yeah,
our
we
YouTube
actually
channel.
Yeah, we actually have a YouTube channel. Do you have the link handy actually, Joe?
I'll get it while you're talking, John.
Thanks. We have a lot of different webinars that we've recorded over the last couple of years. Everything from, you know, this type of just getting to know coding rooms all the way up through so our more advanced, you know, language specific auto grading, things like that. So there are a bunch of different ones there. We don't have a specific pathway that you're supposed to follow. It's just kind of, you know, look for the thing you're interested in. And so far, you know, I haven't had a question that we don't have a video for, but if there is one, let us know. And we are happy to, like, somebody will either just jump on a call with you and show you how to do it. Or if it's popular, then we'll make a webinar just for that topic. Like, you know, we're always looking for ways to, you know, make that library more robust. So
Thank you so much.
Roxanne, also in the new version, we are going to have an onboarding course or getting started course that should be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And that will have animated GIFs to show you how features work and some smaller videos. And so we recognize that it would be really good for all users to have kind of just a resource just to check out how every little detail works. And so we are working on that.
Absolutely. I will look forward to that because I really want to, as the AP exam approaches, I'm really hoping that I can sort of harness coding rooms to help me give feedback about student FRQs. So thank you.
yeah, and I actually have some FRQs already written out with auto grading in them. I'm a little bit of two minds about that because as you probably know, CSA, like, you don't get a compiler, you don't get an IDE, right? You just write your code out. And so I don't know, you know, on the one hand, it is satisfying for students to write it and get it right, know that their code works. On the other hand, that's not the way the exam works. And sort of practicing being in the mindset of my code doesn't have to be, you know, syntactically perfect. It just has to be algorithmically and methodologically perfect. It is a different mindset. So I kind of make my students do both.
Yeah, that's a sort of, I guess that's the learning curve that I followed as well, because in the first semester, I had them just doing it on paper for that exact reason. But then I was like, I can't grade this. Like, I just like the turnaround time and the ability to give feedback on paper, and it was just too much. So I'm going to try to have them do it on paper and then like collect it and then say, okay, now go ahead and type it up and let's figure out like where you could make improvements, not necessarily syntactically, but, you know, in terms of just their algorithm or their thinking about the problem. So I'm hoping to sort of hybrid that for that reason. So thank you for saying that, because I'm new to teaching this course, and I'm glad to know that like that's not a unique thought, that other CSA teachers are having that same struggle, I guess.
And one thing that I've been really successful with in that regard is I will actually have students do it all out on paper first, and then I'll have them exchange with someone. They'll grade each other's paper or each other's code, and I don't take their grades and put them in the grade book, and then I'm of two minds. Either they get theirs back and do the problem themselves, or they work together to make both their codes work. working together has been, a little controversial for the past couple of years. I'm not really sure why. There's something in the air maybe. So it's hard to get, kids sitting at the same computer, but pair programming is very powerful, and hopefully we can get back to doing that soon. So
Absolutely.
if you pair kids with similar abilities, especially, and get them working together to make their solutions work, that is a really powerful learning tool
Thank you.
and saves you time.
I'm just thinking, John, I think soon we should do a APCSA FRQs best practices, get a couple teachers that feel they're really good about that, you and a couple other teachers, and have a webinar where they can talk about that as like a panel, and then have people ask questions. I think it'll be really great for you.
That's a great idea. All right. Any last questions before we wrap up?
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We really enjoyed our time with you. Please feel free to email me if you need anything at all. So if you have any questions, you can always use the intercom button on the Coding Room's website anytime to contact our 24/7 support, as well as get in touch with sales to ask any questions.
All right. Thanks, everyone.